And welcome in to Morning Brew with Jaffe and Razor. This one coming to you late night, Feb 22nd, post game. Bruins lose to the Anaheim Ducks at TD Garden in overtime, 3-2 the final. Morning Brew with Jaffe and Razor is proudly presented in pod by Fazenda Coffee Roasters, the place to go if you want, quite frankly, just the best coffee around, whether you are wholesale or retail business or you're just looking for your house. Check out fazendacoffee.com. They are a trusted partner for cafes, bakeries, and restaurants. They've got expert roasted coffee, and they will help you or your business just elevate your coffee game. And go to fazendacoffee.com/morning brew in particular. Check out the Morning Brew blend, Morning Brew hats, and also the Morning Brew clean canteens. fazendacoffee.com, the lead in-pod sponsor for Morning Brew with Jaffe and Razor. Razor, we've also got a new sponsor that we're going to be talking about in a little bit that we are very excited to welcome to the Morning Brew with Jaffe and Razor family. And in a couple of minutes, we will let you know about them. All right, partner, did you have an obstructed or unobstructed view tonight of this one? Boston Bruins get off to a, how's this for analysis? Meh start at best. Quite the difference of intensity and passion, I think, than we saw in that same building 48 hours earlier or so when the Four Nations final was there. You were calling it. I was working it. They figure out a way to come back. Then they lose in overtime. Overall, I found it a dissatisfying game at times. I just did. I'm happy they got a point, but I really felt coming back from down 2-0, they really needed that second point. What was your take on it?
Yeah, the game itself went as expected. I mean, you give guys 2 weeks off. I mean, you're going to get a meh product. I mean, the timing, the execution, the game of hockey is really hard at that level when you've had a few weeks off. I mean, you look around the league at all the different scores. There was teams that were down 5-0 at the end of one, 4-0 at the end of one, or the games were 1-0 or 2-1 all the way through. So the game itself was as expected, and the fact they got a point was great. Haven't seen a lot of 6-on-5 goals this season, so that was fantastic. And disappointing, not because you did feel they had the momentum that they were going to pound one in overtime.
Exactly. They got a goal from a guy in Morgan Geekie, who we'll talk about in just a moment, who had by far their most chances in the game. He had 5 at least, maybe even 6, what you would call great chances in this one. He then finally capitalizes late in the game on the 6-on-5 situation. But you just felt, or at least I'm feeling, doing the game from ringside on the glass down there, I'm thinking, you got to find a way to get that second point after doing all that good stuff. And again, you're down 2-0 to a team in Anaheim that is, I'll call them, they're youthful. They also have a gaggle of veterans, whether it's a Vetrano, a Killorn, a Strome, a Gudis, now a Trouba, Gibson even. You know what I mean? They've got this interesting mix there, Razor. I use interesting perhaps in the wrong way. A different, you got these older guys that have had success, but now you're playing with a bunch of younger guys. But I thought they played with some passion early in this game. I actually thought their structure was better than I thought it would be. And I give them credit for that. At times, I thought they killed many plays that the Bruins at least tried to execute.
Yeah, they had a great start. And, again, 2-0. And I heard Sacco on the radio on the way home. At any time you spot a team 2, doesn't matter who it is in this league, it's really hard to come back from. Like, really, really hard.
Yeah.
And
Bruins now 58 games. Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
No, I was just going to say the structure, because of that. The teams can get into structure at 2-0. It's just they're able to do so. And Anaheim did a really good job of it. There wasn't a lot out there. And you said it, like it was a game of ping pong most of the night.
Most of the night, yeah. Remind me, I want to say something about their structure, especially in the D zone, but more importantly, it's really more about what the Bruins couldn't accomplish. I want to get to that as part of the analysis of this game. Bruins now, after 58 games, Razor, 27, 24, and 7. They continue their better ways at home, 18, 9, and 4. The road, not so good, 9, 15, and 3. Why is that important to bring up here? Because the Bruins have 2 more home games. Tuesday against Toronto, Thursday against the Islanders before they hit the road for 2. March is going to be a bear for this team. It's going to be a tough go. I think it's 4 at home and 10 on the road, if I remember correctly. And forgive me if my numbers are off just a little bit, but that's where I say, and I'll say to you, it's pretty obvious they got to have any chance, they got to figure out these next 2 games at home. I mean, home is where they've been good, and the road has been the opposite.
Yeah, and well, they're gonna have to figure out the road too, right? You get San Jose on the road, and a lot of teams have already gone out there. So there's ways that the schedule changes, and they have to find a way to. They're gonna have to find a way on the road, whether they win these 2 or not. So, yeah, it's March is just a bear. Period. The entire league. Even when you're Washington, it's a bear because you don't want to get injured and you're worried about it, and you're trying to stay continue your upward trajectory, continue to improve, continue to stay sharp. And then for these teams, again, fans haven't seen it in a couple years, but March is typically the month of survival of the fittest, just like the Stanley Cup playoffs. That's what this is, and that's where this team is now. It's basically playoff time as well as 5 or 6 other teams.
The Bruins got a little bit of help today. Busy day in the NHL. 14 games being played, 28 of the 32 teams playing games. For a handful of teams, Razor, 6 at least, maybe even 8, less than. They didn't even get 40 hours. It was like 30 something hours after the Four Nations finished. You had McDavid and the Oilers playing in Philly. They got beat pretty good too, 6-3, and I heard it wasn't even that close. You had Detroit and Dylan Larkin and others playing there, and they ended up losing their lead late in the game to Minnesota. So the Bruins got some help. They didn't get help, as you mentioned. We were off air talking. Columbus found a way, but they're not just because they're playing Chicago. I mean, I understand a weak team, but you can't take it for granted. And Columbus won. I don't know. It just starts feeling more and more, and we've talked about this before on our show. Columbus seems to have that. I don't know. I don't know if they're going to make it all the way into the playoffs, but they have that thing. They have that little thing, and yes, we know the tragedy that started at the beginning of the year, but now they've built and they've said we've got at least confidence. Maybe that's the word. At least I feel like they've got confidence. Whether it lasts or not, I don't know, but it sure as heck seems like they do, and it's being led to me by Zach Werenski on the back end there.
Yeah, it's all him basically, and some of the top line that they have. They're going to be in it right closer to the end.
Feels
They
like
will.
it.
Yeah.
All right, let's take a look at this game. How was the couch, by the way? Before with how was Patrice and
Everyone was
Tuukka?
great. Yeah, it was nice. It was a perfect game for us to do it because again, it was there wasn't a lot of action, so we could talk and not really miss anything. So it kind of worked out for both the entertainment of the game and for the way the show works. We didn't miss too much, so it worked out really well. It was good.
You had Andrew Ferentz. How did that go?
He hung out for he got there early. We had dinner together, and then
is he still a health nut? Is he like all healthy?
Yeah, they're all him and Bergie were talking about workouts and stuff, and Tuukka and I were talking about beer and sauna. Typical goalies / Hall of Famers. That's kind of how it goes.
I could see Andrew. I could see Ferentz being like, I mean, you eat healthy. I eat healthy, but I also do. I eat what I want to eat. I could see Ferentz being like, no. I'm going greens. I'm going.
Yeah, no,
beans.
he ate like pasta, and I don't want to call him out, but he didn't eat like a healthy dinner.
Oh, good. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
So
but
there
he
you
still
go.
is in good.
I was kind of surprised.
He's such a good dude. He's such a good dude.
He was really good on TV, and it was fun.
Awesome. Okay. First period. Bruins get out, and it was not a good first period. They end up giving up 17 shots in the period, and shots don't always tell the story. They only had 7 themselves. Before we get to the 2 goals late in that first period, the Bruins did have a couple of chances, but it took a while for them to get going. They did not have. Anaheim did have much. They had more what I would call determination, more intent to play the right way, at least. Pucks deep, kind of moved it up. They're a transition-based team. They love the rush. That's what they are. They're not a grinded out team, but they got pucks going in. And the Bruins, I kind of felt like allowed that to happen pretty good for a while. And Anaheim took control of it. And they finally get the first goal late in the period, 17-27. It's Trevor Zegras. It's a goal, his 7th of the season. The young defenseman, Lacombe, who, by the way, he's a good young defenseman, and he's playing pretty well. There's some people talking with it. They said this kid's a type of kid that could sneak into the U.S. Olympic team, at least into their select mindset by next year, perhaps. The way that he plays, I know he played at Minnesota with Faber and stuff. So, anyways, with that, Carlson also with the assist, but it ends up being a 2-on-1, right? And the Bruins and Lowry in the neutral zone tries to step up to make a hit. He ends up missing Carlson. It ends up being a 2-on-1, and it ends up being Zegras from the left side who beats Swayman. There's nothing Swayman could do there.
No, great 2-on-1. You just can't have that pass go back. You can let it go once nowadays in the NHL. Once is fine, but if that goes back the other way, it's, we were saying it's like a 2-on-0 with someone in your way.
Your Razor, what you're talking about, in case anybody didn't get to see it, it's a cross ice pass. It's a 20-foot pass or so, and it's a 2-on-1 again because Lowry had stepped up to make a hit or to try it in the neutral zone, and then Zegras and Lacombe, who jumped into the play, going a 2-on-1 and a little give and go, we'll call it, type of play. And as soon as Lacombe brings it back, as you're talking about the second pass, there's nothing that can be done there.
Yeah, no, nothing at all. And yeah, beautiful goal by Anaheim at the end of the day.
Took advantage of a misread. Bruins had done, like I said, the first 7, I didn't love that 10 minutes. I thought they started getting going, getting some chances. We had a few chances in between then. Geeky had opportunity.
Geeky was all alone in front. Geeky had a great tip.
Right?
Pasta just missed the one little bump out rebound pass to him. Yeah, they had high danger for the first 15 minutes, in their favor.
So 1-0 though at that time at 17-27, and then late in the period, they're hoping to get through the end of the period. But again, it wasn't to be. It was to be not. As Anaheim gets the puck, Radko Gudas takes a kind of it's a fake slapper, but it's a slap pass from the right point to Frank the Tank Vetrano. His 17th goal of the season. That's a career high for him. Wonderful kid. Love this kid. I mean, he's just happy, smiling, coming in, and he pops in, and he's all by himself, Razor, off to the blocker side of Swayman. Again, nothing that Swayman could do there. The Bruins, though, their coverage in the D zone was not good.
No, it wasn't. They ended up, Anaheim used the high forward pretty well on that shift, and they got running around a little bit, and they ended up getting into man on man, which again isn't the most comfortable for what they do in the defensive zone. Got lost, and they had 3 forwards up high, and there was 3 Anaheim forwards down low, and that's a poor recipe to stay plus in this league.
As soon as Radko Gudas recognized that, he lets that hard slap pass go because Vetrano had gone not so much stealth, but just kind of slid over just from the middle ice over to that doorstep off to the blocker side of Swayman, and he redirects it. And by the way, Vetrano, I don't know if you guys talked about it at all on your show. He did a deal. He re-signed with Anaheim for 3 years at $18 million, but it's not just a $6 million a year deal. He is getting deferred payments for $900,000 a year starting in 2035. So it's basically, he gets 10 years at $900,000. So he's getting $9 million paid during the first 3 years of the deal. But then the way that they structured it, and this was from the Anaheim Ducks management, they presented this to him after the Shohei Ohtani, his deal. Now, granted, it's a lot less than what he signed for. But what do you think of that? What do you think about a guy? And we've seen a few other players do something like that, but this one was even, more interesting. 10 years of deferred payment.
My first thought is he better hope inflation doesn't continue to go up, because he's going to lose a lot of money or not have a lot of money in his pocket right off the bat. it's nice. It'll be nice when he's older and he has the money there. There's another school of thought that says money in your bank now is better than money in your bank later. So, but for him, again, it's a personal choice. It's nice. It helps the team, I guess. But
Well, it
really,
helps the
it's
team, and doesn't it also though help him with regard to taxes? I think that was part of
yes.
I think that was a big part of it from his end too. And then they negotiated. They went back and forth. He wanted a
Hopefully, he's
certain
not coming
number.
back to Mass. Hopefully, his plan is to go to Cayman Islands. Because if he is going back to his hometown, I mean, that's not taxes will be about the same. So he must have a plan to go to Florida.
Somewhere. Yeah. Or he talks about wanting to stay out there. I mean, taxes out there are expensive too. But anyways, just an interesting deal. Again, 18 million over 3 years, but 9 million the first 3 years, and then 900 grand per year for 10 years starting in 2035. He's also hoping at the end of this 3 years that he's going to get another contract. So somewhere in there, maybe another 1, 2, 3 years type of thing. And then that could bridge that money too. So, anyways, I'll have some more money coming. I just wanted to get your take on that as well. 2-1 or 2-0 to score at the end of one. As I said, shots were 17-7 in favor of Anaheim in that one. Second period gets going, and the Bruins are doing all right. They're getting better. They found their legs better. They started to get more. I never felt they had any good, really, really good sustained forecheck in this game. I know there were a couple shifts. The Zaka line had some, but I'm talking repeat, rear, all four lines were getting that. And that was to me something I thought Anaheim actually defended well, and the Bruins didn't. We always talk about Razor when they're playing, how well they use the back of the net and stuff. I didn't feel like they could get that cycle going and that type of play going. It just never felt like that. But they do get a power play and then a 5-on-3 power play halfway through the period. A bunch of tripping calls against Anaheim. They called one on John Gibson. I actually think it was the defender in front of him who got it, regardless. And then Leeson and another tripping call in the ozone. Next thing you know, it's a 5-on-3. And Elias Lindholm gets his 11th goal of the season on a nice pass from David Pastrnak. His 41st assist of the season. Bit of a no-look pass, that classic Pastrnak right to left, and Lindholm puts it in. It just gets through the body of Gibson to give the Bruins their first goal of the game.
And David gets his 14th point or 14 game point streak to continue, which is a career high, which is great. Pretty cool what he's done since middle of January, coming out of the break as well. Again, he took a lot of time off, so the chemistry came back pretty quickly, I thought, on the first line, and then of course the power play it's all David freezing the goalie again, head up, no look pass, and Lindholm hit it well and found the 5-hole to squeak it by, and that's a good start for him coming out of Four Nations.
Yes, it was. It was.
He was awesome in the draw, right? He dominated the draw.
He did. Yeah, I don't remember the numbers, but he did do very well in this game, which important understatement. They're going to need him to pick it up from what it was. So it's 2-1 after 2 periods. Shots 7 for Anaheim in the second and 13 for Boston. So again, they found their legs a bit. They started to be a little more responsible with the puck. They got it in deep. They didn't sustain forecheck, but they got stuff going. They didn't turn it over as much. That was perhaps the other thing too, but it's 2-1. And then you go into the third and you're saying, okay, get one early, get the crowd behind you, get everything going. Bruins can't get it. Now they had some chances, and Dostal comes in for Gibson. Boy, does Gibson get seems like he gets hurt a lot.
Yeah, he does.
I saw him in his equipment. He was half dressed and in the medical room. I mean, I'm just walking by in there. He seemed okay, but they called it an upper body injury. I don't have a lot of replay down when I'm doing the rink side. I know I got the monitor there, but I'm not looking at a lot. Did you happen to see anything that was distinct for Gibson by chance in the first?
No, we didn't see anything, and we didn't have any replays or anything tonight. So,
he's playing better.
No idea. We did. It took us 5 minutes to figure out there was a new goalie. To be honest, we're just kind of, we shooting the shit before we not really
didn't even recognize it. Okay, ignorance is bliss.
That's right.
Consider yourself lucky that you were on the couch.
Yeah, that's right.
For this one, that you weren't standing ringside or talking about this one in a different way, trying to analyze it. I'm making you do it here on Morning Brew right now. All right, so let's go late in the third period. The Bruins did have some chances. Again, Geeky had a breakaway. He had a great opportunity that Dostal made a good goalie. And by the way, Gibson's playing better. He in his last 9 games, Razor, coming into this one, 4-4-1 with a 922 save percentage. All of a sudden, it's like John Gibson feels like he's back to being John Gibson, looks healthy, and looks like he's engaged back there, almost like he wants to play so well that he can maybe get traded if somebody's willing perhaps to take some of that salary.
Well, and again, you talk about their structure too. Like they didn't give they give up chances, but they're like obvious chances. If that makes sense. Like it's
Predictable chances.
predictable chances, which again, for the goaltender, those are the chances you want to give up. And yeah, that's a perfect word for it. Predictable chances. Again, it's like a breakaway. You're not giving up the 2-on-1 that 3 passes go across the center line. It's just it's different, but. And then on top of it, they're obviously getting more and more confident. And Dostal was great in the third period, and none better at that geeky, because that's the one where you think, okay, they're really going to cook you the last 7 minutes of the game if that goes in.
Nice pass from
Anaheim might not
Zacha.
hang on.
Yeah, a real nice pass from Zacha. What was he, just inside the zone or just at the blue defensive blue line? Hit Geeky streaking up through the middle ice. Geeky shot off the shoulder, I think, of Dostal, and kept it a 2-1 game. But finally, Morgan Geeky, again, the player who was working his ass off in this game and getting opportunities. He's going to end up getting his 18th goal of the season, a career high for him. And I made a mistake. Vetrano, his 17th was not a career high. He's going for his 4th consecutive 20-goal season as Frank Vetrano. Geeky got his career high with 18. It was a one-timer from Mason Lowright. The goaltender pulled 6-on-5. This comes from his off wing. He's a righty, so he's on the left side. He hammer times it. And this one was clean. When I mean clean, it had that like Mariano Rivera's, like a fastball with a little split finger to it. And it just a little movement, sharp movement at the end. The goal goes in, the place goes crazy. The low official, not immediately, but like a half second after, then waves it off. You saw him wave it off. You're like, was it a high stick? What did it hit something? What happened here? They claimed goalie interference. Elias Lindholm had gone to the front of the net. There was contact. First by Dostal with the blocker. He's allowed to do that. Then contact from Lindholm, who did get his right side in the crease, but then he was out of the crease. There was no contact after that. And I don't know about you. I kept sitting there saying, this is a goal, like internally, like this is a goal, but holy smokes, I don't know anymore in the NHL. So I'm thinking, could they say he didn't have time to reset? But I thought the overhead showed it best, that there was definitely a reset movement and a half a second for Dostal to make what I would call a clean save. And he got beat. He just got beat by a hard shot from Morgan Geeky.
That's the way we saw it. I was, again, the only thing, when they showed the overhead a bunch of times and we didn't see anything else. So we were kind of saying maybe that push from Lindholm is happening at the same time the pass is coming across. And, you see it over and over. And okay, well, the only way that it's goalie interference is if the pass is coming across and he can't track the pass because he's getting hit by Lindholm. And then I don't know if it was the ankle cam or one of the other sides, you could see that he clearly was looking, got pushed, looked both sides, saw the puck the whole way. And at that point, then it was, to your point, it seemed very obvious that it would absolutely not be a goal. But until they actually, wave it off or point at center ice, you're like, oh my, so they got it right. It makes me nervous that they're willing to call those no goals.
I know,
on the ice and live viewing, like how you see that and then call no goal is scary to me. Makes me nervous about the playoffs, but tonight they got it right, but there's just like,
why did we have to go there?
Why did we have to?
You don't want to take those goals off the board.
Again, that's the one, like, call that a goal. Let the other team decide if that's goalie interference, if we're really going to do it. Like, because Bruins shouldn't be penalized to have to make that decision in that play. That should be up to Anaheim to have to figure that out.
I'm guessing, hard to get into the head of the official. I'm guessing he saw the contact, and then we've got the beauty of slow-mo. We can see. And to him, instead of, for us, it's 1/1000.
Puck went in at the same time.
Puck goes in, and he's like, what did I just see? There was contact. I got to call no goal. To your point, the routine should be, okay, I think I saw it, but they'll call it a goal and we can then review it. We
Yeah.
need to keep goals on the board. It's just like the
Yeah.
offside stuff, but
Or another little tweak is that in that, like, and I don't know what the gray, like, I don't know what the line is, and we don't have enough time tonight to get into this, but at that one, on one like that, it's like maybe they should just not have to challenge that. Like, no one should challenge. We're just gonna look at this because the ref was like, should there, maybe there's a mechanism where the ref says, I need to go check this before we
before I
challenge
go
it or
over and
not, or
jump.
something.
Okay.
I don't know, but it just that one, that's the issue for me, is that it just feels like Boston shouldn't have to put their neck on the line in that play. But
I'll let you take
anyways,
that up with Cooley. How's
yeah,
that?
well, yeah,
Okay.
exactly. Yeah, I can't.
You have 4
Cooley will
hours with
use
him.
literally 5 hours of that doing that. Exactly.
Let's call that our spark of the game. Fair?
Yeah.
Okay. Sparks Hockey presents the spark of the game on Morning Brew with Chaffee and Razor, and that's Morgan Geeky's goal. Time of the goal was 18:49. Again, his 18th goal of the season. It got the Bruins a tie game. Go check out sparkshockey.com. Use the code BRU50 for $50 off. It is the best at-home skate sharpening unit you can buy, folks. Razor and I love ours. We use it all the time. Youth hockey is kicking into the final 4 weeks of the season.
Yes. Thankfully.
Yeah,
Did I say that out loud?
Tell me about it.
Yeah.
Sparks Hockey is what you want. Go check them out. Sparkshockey.com presents the spark of the game. All right. So then we go to overtime. In the third period, I should say there was only 2 shots from Anaheim. Bruins were on it. Meanwhile, the Bruins ended up with 9 shots on goal. For a while, it was only 4-2 in shots. Again, it was a ping pong game back and forth. Bruins then started pushing near the end. Nice to see him get a 6-on-5 goal. Now we head into overtime, and I'm thinking, win it right here, right? You got to get yourself the extra point. Unfortunately, 3:39 mark, it ends up being Carlson, the second-year player, his 10th goal of the season, off of the rebound after Dumoulin had gotten involved down low. The Bruins overcommitted defensively. 2 players go to one side, ends up being a rebound opportunity off of Swayman's either arm or left side of his body. The puck lays there, and coming in was Carlson, who snipes it upstairs. I think it was Coyle that was in front of the net that tried in vain to stop that rebound from getting put back in the net.
He did, and Carlson just kind of flubbed it enough that it went up and over Coyle,
Yeah.
who was there. And to be honest, fortunately, that slapper didn't go off Coyle's hand. If he had to hit it, and it does hit Coyle at that point, that could have been a problem. But just and if you broke it down, I'm assuming of the first 2.1 minute, what did you say, 3:39
Yep.
in?
Yep. Yeah.
So
3:39 mark. Yeah.
yeah, so about 2
Now
of
Stahl
those.
had 2 or 3 good saves in that
Yeah, like the
OT.
Bruins possessed
Yeah.
65% of that time.
Mm-hmm.
I thought, they won the draws. They had the puck. The Geeky almost scored another glove save from Dostal. Pasta was in the mix, so they carried it. But that's overtime at this point in the league. If you don't bury it 1 or 2 of your chances, you continue to run the risk of the other end going in.
Bruins only had credit 1 shot on goal because I think the Pasta one didn't hit the net. I think his went wide.
Okay.
It was the Geeky one. But Pasta, you would still consider it a good chance, a high danger chance.
Yeah.
3 shots credited for Anaheim. Anaheim finished with 29. Bruins finished with 30. Bruins 1 for 1. Beg your pardon. 1 for 4 on the power play. They had some power plays in the first that were not good, and then 0 for 1 was Anaheim on the power play. So that's your game. Again, Bruins lose in overtime 3-2. We're going to get to just a couple of things, but first, Razor, let's recognize the other 2 sponsors that help make this show possible. The first one is Graciano Construction. You want to check them out. Serving Boston, the greater Metro West area. Graciano Construction. I cannot speak tonight. I've been off for 2 weeks, it feels like. Jesus, right. They're the contractor. They will help you refresh and revitalize your space. Check out what they can do. GracianoConstruction.com or 508-330-7589. Give them a call at 508-330-7589. They do awesome work. They care about the customer first. They take care of you folks. They are the type of people you want working on your house, And you know what? At the very least, call up Doug Graciano, check it out, get a consultation from them, and see what it's all about. We appreciate Graciano Construction being with us all year long. And then we have a new sponsor that we are thrilled to welcome in to the Morning Brew with Jaffe and Razor fans. So I don't remember how many weeks ago it was, Razor. At least 3, maybe 4. I mentioned in passing about on a show about how crappy I sleep. Are you a good sleeper? I would imagine you are. You seem
Yeah, if I
you're
can
the
get it.
opposite of me. You're the opposite.
If I can get it, I will use it, yeah. Tomorrow night's gonna be amazing. I haven't slept a lot lately.
I haven't either until I got some product. How about that?
Yeah,
Because
that was awesome.
so
What a call.
it was, and I'm looking for stuff and talking about it, taking some gummies. I didn't commit to anything, and then all of a sudden we get this opportunity. Sunset Lake CBD. They come through and they say, "Hey, you know what? Don't be a bad sleeper. Be a great sleeper. Try these products." Sunset Lake CBD is out of Vermont. They grow, harvest, and ship all of its craft CBD products directly from its farm in northern Vermont straight to your door. Skip the lines and find your relief and relaxation and try their products at Sunset Lake CBD. They are fantastic. Whether it's sleep gummy. They have with and without melatonin. I use both. It depends on how much I really want to go out. They've got vibe gummies, they call it. They've got all different things. I've been using that mostly. They got the tinctures too, I'm playing with it a little bit. And I got to tell you what, when I know that I've got finally 6, 7, 8 hours, and I take it and I find that it's simple, and you just feel when you get to sleep, it has helped me sleep so much better, and I am thankful. Um, and I know you've tried it as well. And I don't know how many of the different products have you tried that they sent?
The sleep ones, I haven't had a lot of time. I think something's been going on every night, so,
Mhm.
I haven't sat on the couch in a while, but, sleep has been awesome, especially, again, I was traveling around, so, to use that to help sleep in the hotels and stuff was awesome, and, just great people, cool logo, cool setup, and really appreciate it.
It's awesome stuff. SunsetLakeCBD.com. Use the code BREW20, BRU20, and get 20% off your order. They've got products to help you relax after a tough day at work, right? They've got, as I said, gummies and tinctures to help you with sleep, and everybody loves a good night's sleep. They've got topicals if you got some sore muscles, you want to rehydrate some dry skin, especially like we know we got a lot of people here that work out or play hockey. Try it after that. If you order over $75, Sunset Lake CBD can ship your order for free. Check out Sunset Lake CBD and give them a go. They're awesome people, high quality products. And in our time with them now, the last couple of weeks, high quality people. So we thank them for joining Morning Brew with Jaffe and Razor. We look forward to that. All right, let's get into a couple things here as we get through this Morning Brew with Jaffe and Razor. I liked, let's see, rapid fire time. Guys coming back off of the Four Nations. I thought Swayman, I thought he was focused, thought he played well. Talked to him a bit after the game. I liked his presentation. I had no issue with his game. What do you think?
Correct, yep, all of the above. Looked solid, looked sharp, got out, looked unrusty.
Yeah. You've always talked about how hard it is for goaltenders, especially, but he talked about post game, especially being off. I mean, not being able to replicate game situation, but he talked about the value of working with these incredibly high level players. He had a lot of conversation with them. I feel like he got more workouts than I realized, perhaps. I don't know how much practice they end up having there, but I feel like he got enough. He was on the ice enough that he was able to keep his flow, keep his routine, I think it would maybe
Yeah,
the way to say it.
certainly, and again, going from that to the NHL is like going to the NHL to the minors. Like, the shots would have felt like muffins, the first time out after you're facing guys that are all gonna be, Hall of Famers or All-Stars, etcetera, so, easy for a goalie to stay sharp even without playing.
Brad Marchand ended up playing 1907 despite missing a handful of
Yeah.
minutes after he stumbled and had to go into the locker room as there was a mandatory, because he hit his head into the boards. He did. There was a mandatory, we got to check you out. I talked to him after the game. And he said that was just had to go do it. He ended up with an assist. He had 3 shots on goal. He was also credited with 4 giveaways in this game. I got to imagine it was tougher for him. And he talked about, the first period, it was getting back at it. He admitted too, Razor, that at times he was thinking the system that Canada played versus what the Bruins did. And it's funny is maybe not the right word. It's just interesting how in a matter of not even 2 weeks, how the mind can change because you're so focused. They were so focused on the structure. It was so important, especially in the U.S. games for Canada, that Marchand admitted at times he found himself outside of what they normally do in Boston.
It's great insight, and yeah, that's that again. That's kind of it gives also good insight on what like 2 or 3 days or 4 days in the NHL means. Days off or doing it a different way, like that. It's every day is intense, and when you miss those 3 or 4 days of not skating, it just takes so long to build all of that back in. And uh, Brad looked good. Brad skated well. It also looked like he ran into the guy in the first period, or they ran into each other. That you could tell that there was people where he hadn't been used to people being over the last couple of days, and just structure, but also just how fast guys are. And now you're slow, and you play against guys that are a little slower than you get in the way.
And I can't imagine that he would be mentally as sharp as he just just
Yeah, no,
because
the
what
way
he's
that
been through.
whatever he went, whatever his Thursday was, this was like minus 5,000.
Right. And you're
Yeah,
just not as mentally sharp. It's just a human nature thing.
of course.
This was kind of a typical or an ultimate almost Mason Lowry game. I mean, he ends up playing 23 minutes. He's a -2, but he has 2 assists and he's 4 shots on goal. I mean, you want to talk about the opposite ends of the spectrum, right, Razor? I mean, from the good to the, oh my God, not so good. This was another, and we didn't know if Lowry was going to play given he was under the weather this morning.
It is. It's when you're developing and you've got young guys back there, and especially one that's offensive minded and really has a lot to learn defensively. This is what you're going to get, and you're it's going to be, you're probably going to ride the rocket until at least until the other 2 guys are back here with 23 minutes a night. It's just going to cause for more fluctuation.
And you're going to ride a guy like Nikita Zadorov, who ended up playing 25-18 in this game, leading the way for the Boston Bruins. It was also his 700th career game tonight. Congratulations to him. I liked him at times. I thought he tried to do some stuff with the puck. There was that opportunity late in the game. I actually would have loved to see him shoot the puck.
Yeah, I know that's what we said too.
I would have loved it. The big guy, he is. I talked to him a little this morning, talked to him a second intermission. I mean, he's focused on doing his part if he can to get this team into the playoffs. I mean, he's intensely focused on it, which is a great sign. And I thought he was pretty good in this game.
Yeah, I did too. For the way we looked at it, he's physical. He gets in guys' faces all the time, and if he plays more, then he settles in more too. It feels like at times where he just kind of does his thing, and knows he can't knows he can't go in the box, knows he can't play overly physical because he's trying to pace himself, and he did a good job.
Bruins end up winning the face-off battle 37-17. Razor mentioned earlier, Lindholm was great. I pulled up the numbers, 17 wins, 6 losses for 74%. A lot of young kids playing center. Carlson and McTavish in particular. Strome is not young, but he took him. He did. He taught him a lesson there. I'm trying to see if anything else really jumps out at me. Riley Tufte played in just his 4th game of the season. He hit the he had 8-15 mark. He had 2 shot attempts. Neither of them hit the net. Koepke was the scratch in this game. He didn't play. It'll be interesting to see what happens for Tuesday's game, if there's anything there. I guess we'll wrap up with the whole no word yet on Lindholm or McAvoy. We know that McAvoy, it's his shoulder. We know that there's recovery. We know that it's week to week. We agreed the other day that it's going to be weeks plural because that's what that means. but nothing on Hampus Lindholm, bud. That's gone too quiet as far as I'm concerned. I mean, I'm not being a doomsdayer, but that feels like we're gonna, have a uh-oh type thing, perhaps like an update. I hope, maybe we get one on Sunday. There's practice at 11:30 Sunday morning, but just not hearing, not seeing, especially after he had practiced with the team near the end before the break, going to the break. It just feels like obviously something happened.
Yeah, something's up. Something's certainly up. So we'll hear maybe. Maybe they
Maybe
don't
not.
tell us. They don't need to, I suppose. So
No.
I again, the fact that he took a day off the other day was like, oh man, because it's
Yeah.
just an odd thing not to, when he was cooking and going and now not that, but it's all doctor stuff. So we'll see
Right.
what everyone says.
Right. All right. Anything else, bud, that I missed, that I screwed up on, that we need to get to after that game? Anything heading into the next one?
I don't think so. I think, yeah, no, it'll, they get a couple days here now to everybody getting back and relaxing and a huge divisional game. Toronto always brings the best out and they'll be buzzing for a Tuesday night. Too bad they didn't flip these two games. Could have had Toronto tonight and
Yeah.
Anaheim Tuesday. But
Yeah.
anyways,
Anyways, it's
it's a good
Anaheim's got a
warm up.
back-to-back to start. Kind of, I got to go right to Detroit.
Yeah,
In
that's
the
fine.
afternoon there. Interesting. All right, wrap up this morning brew with Jaffe and Razor. Again, welcome to Sunset Lake CBD for coming into the morning brew with Jaffe and Razor family. We look forward to having them right now, and we appreciate the quality of their products.
Mhm.
All right. All right, folks. We'll be back with you after Tuesday's game. That's the next morning brew with Jaffe and Razor. After the Toronto game, a reminder: Bruins play Tuesday at home, Thursday at home against the New York Islanders as well. We will have a show after each one of those games as we get into the lots of shows, as the Bruins have lots of work to do to get themselves into the playoffs. Bruins losing overtime 3-2 to the Anaheim Ducks. They're a point out of the playoffs as we sit and record this episode. A couple of teams have 1 or 2 games in hand on them. Regardless, they're still in the thick of it. We'll see what they can do. In the meantime, everybody, have yourself a wonderful Sunday, or if you listen to this on Monday, a wonderful Monday, and have yourself a wonderful cup